All systems go. All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
Not really sure what that glitch was, but we're here. We're live with my man Nades, talking some baseball. 8 games on DraftKings, 8 games on FanDuel, 7:10 Eastern start time. What is going on? Sean, there we go. Robert, MN Holla, Gangrene, Jason Turner, Philly, Keith, Ranger, William, Jordan, Shaloob. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Again, all we ask, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Appreciate those words, Keith. Man, I'm glad to be with my man Nades because this pitching slate is garbage. As you can see from the up here, a lot of big totals. It's really warm across the country. A lot of bad pitchers. So I'm going to need some help today, Nades. How we doing?
We're doing good. Yeah. I mean, I pull up the old, I use Ballpark Pal. I'm a strict believer in weather and ballparks. It's done me pretty good this season. And I look at the old summary here, and there's 6 games that have the bright red sun logo, meaning temperatures are over 80 degrees. A lot of them in the 90s. A couple wind blown out spots. Obviously, we don't have Coors Field, but we have Great American Small Park. Overall, we got the big teams on the slate. We got the Yankees in that small ballpark there that are kind of scuffling overall in general right now. So there's a lot of things to talk about. Pitching seems to be the theme as of late. I don't know. The last couple shows I've been on, it seems like pitching's been asked. So we'll do our best. Usually when that's the case, I lean more into ownership than not, right? Because when you look at the slate and you think you want to throw up looking at these pitchers, even despite the name recognition on some of them, right? They're just in tough spots, tough matchups, good weather. Things can go south. And I mean, I won't be surprised to see some of these guys that you don't even kind of foresee going out there do good. That we probably won't even talk about. Eric Lauer brings up it reminds me of that, I think, on the Friday slate when we were talking there. So that's baseball. That's the nature of it. It's pretty much going to be the theme over the next probably 2 months or so, I would say. Heart of the summer is great because it's fun to watch. There's lots of home runs. There's lots of runs scored. But from a DFS and analyst breakdown perspective, there's going to be stuff that we say and we break down. We think we know what's going to happen. We have no idea. And anytime you have good ballparks and good weather, wild stuff can happen, right? Pitchers get blisters on their hands, right? Cramps. I mean, all different kinds of stuff happens. So we'll do our best to break it down. But yeah, pitching is gross, and there's a lot of team. I mean, you look at the White Sox implied to score almost 4.5 runs. That tells you right there what kind of slate we have at hand.
Yes, absolutely. Good breakdown there. So just looking at pitching, again, I almost always have this filter on. Show me pitchers projected greater than 8. I don't really like playing pitchers projected less than 8. If there was a slate, maybe today. Still, I'm not going to play any down below unless Nate's tell me otherwise. But sorting our whole pitching pool by projected pitches from SaberSim, only 2 above 90, which is very interesting as well. Again, not many good arms on the slate by any means today. We're going to get into pitching in 1 sec. Still got to say hi to a couple more people. Scotty, hey, always good enjoying your last day off of work. Enjoy it tonight. Hopefully make some more money. Jordan making me laugh. Nate D, Juice, Jake, appreciate all y'all hanging out. Many familiar faces. Hope everybody's day is going well today. And to make your day even a little better, we do have a promo code. If you have not joined ShipItNation.com or have not gave us a try, no better time to join it. Less than $1 a day, $24 it takes for the first month to get all of our content, projections, ownership, access to Saber, the best optimizer out there, and the best Discord around. As you can see, usually looking at the breakdown, man, where is this going? There we go. On the core package, usually $99, allows you to build 250 teams, see 150 and late swap. Usually the best deal is the starter pack because it also gets you 2 sets of projections ownership. It also gets you Saber Sims and contest flashback to look at prior contests, see what the pros are doing, see how your teams are grading out. However, if you have not used MLB 75 as the code, the core is definitely the best. I mean, $24, how can you beat that? Less than $1 a day. We would love to have you at the Nation, and do get in the Discord if you do join for sure. King of Trades, what's up? I think that is every single person I've said hi to. And yeah, next thing you know, sounds good, Juice. Next thing you know, football will be around the corner. Cannot wait for that. Time to talk pitching. Again, it's a really tough slate. What I'm going to say is the K props that are 5.5 or over today. Now, most of the 5.5 is juice on the under, but just so people get an idea, like Schwellenbach, he leads the slate with his K prop 5.5 minus 115 on the over and under. So that's the best. If someone gets 5 Ks today, you more than likely will be happy. Lodolo, 5.5 minus 105 on the over. Erod, 5.5 minus 125 on the under. Woo, Brian Woo, that is, 5.5 minus 150 on the under. Bailey Ober, 5.5 minus 155 on the under. Chad Patrick, 5.5 minus 155 on the under. That is all we have for 5.5 K props. We have Walker Buehler, Ben Brown, and that is it for 4.5 with some juice on the over. So clearly, it's not like if you sign, you can look at projections right here for pitching. The highest we have projected, and again, I'm taking the average of SHIPIT Nation and SaberSim for both. That's a luxury you do have on the starter pack. 3 pitchers projected above 15. No one above 16.5. It's gross, Nades. There's no doubt about it. For me, it's a build your bats first, fill in pitching after that, since I'm looking at a lot of these guys pretty much the same. But yeah, 8K and above. Actually, let's go Bailey Ober at 7.6 and above. And then I think a lot of that bottom stuff will be junk. But let's lower it a little bit. 7.6 Bailey Ober up to Schwellenbach at 9.8K. What are we doing?
Yeah, so I'll start with Schwally. He's my favorite pitcher on the slate, even in a tough matchup. I know he's the most expensive, but I think that also keeps ownership down because you look at projections. He's not even the highest projected pitcher. You can save $200 and go to Brian Woo, who's projected higher than him. I have concern with Brian Woo. Not only the ownership, this dude, I mean, he plays half of his games, so his numbers are a little inflated overall when you look at the overall because he plays half of his games in one of the best pitching parks in baseball. Now he heads out to Minnesota. We just saw what that series did with the hot weather here in the Midwest. I mean, I walk outside, I'm instantly sweating, and it's going to be super hot there again in Target Field, wind blowing out there. At the ownership, I'd much rather find the $200 and play Schwellenbach. I think Schwellenbach's a better pitcher in general overall. So I like Schwellenbach a ton if you can get up to him. You look at Brian Woo against lefties over the last 30 days, 14% K rate to lefties, tons of power, a 267 ISO with a 31% fly ball rate. That's 67 plate appearances, so that's a pretty good chunk. I like to compare last 30 days when we're at this point of the season, just because these guys, for whatever reason, I mean, it's streaky, but even if you look over the course of this year and last year, he's far significantly worse versus lefties as he is righties. The Twins have only 4 lefties, I guess, which is a little bit better. But then, I mean, Buxton's one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. You got some switch hitters in there. I have concern. I mean, this Twins team on the current season has right around a 20% K rate against right-handed pitching, where Brian Woo sits about league average between this year and last year at 23%. So for me, it's Schwellenbach over Woo. I have concerns. Woo is probably the cash game guy. I would assume he's probably going to be in the cash game core for a U title. In tournaments, I much like going to Schwellenbach. I'll probably be underweight on Brian Woo in general. Chad Patrick's probably my second favorite pitcher on the slate. I am a believer in this guy. He leads the majors, I think, in rookie. I mean, the dude's been great. He's had tough matchups. He pitched very good against a team like San Diego when I was at the game. Overall, 8,600. They're going to let this dude throw over 90 pitches. He's got strikeout upside. I know the K props. He's right there in line with the rest of the slate in terms of K props. You can argue, right, juice is on the under, etc. If he can hone in his walks here against a team like the Pirates, where I'm just not too scared of the Pirates, I get it, right? The roof's going to be open in Milwaukee. It's 95 degrees. There's wind blowing out, but the stadium is big enough. I don't think the wind's going to have too much effect overall. And you look at this Pirates team on the road, I I mean, O'Neal Cruz, yeah, he's scary, but he still strikes out at a 35% rate against right-handed pitching on the road, right? You have a lot of high strikeout bats in there. If he can navigate some of the lower strikeout guys, this team has a 134 ISO. So there's just not too much downside, in my opinion, for a guy like Chad Patrick, who, if he's pitching well, he's going to go 5-6 innings. And on that slate at 8,600, I'll take that discount, $1,000 cheaper than Brian Wu. So those are my two favorite pitchers on the slate right there. Bailey Ober is the guy I'm gonna hit on here because he's gonna be super popular. And I mean, this dude just throws meatballs over the heart of the plate. You look at the Mariners team; they're second in baseball in average against right-handed pitching over the last 30 days, and they have one of the hottest hitters, if not the hottest hitter, leads all the majors. Right, Cal Raleigh. Lefties tag this dude up. It's super hot and humid in Minnesota. The ball should fly. And when everybody's going to kind of condense on him, when I see clear downside risk, that's where I'm talking about. I'd rather just pivot to other guys around him. I think Ben Brown is a solid pivot there. They're probably going to be pretty similar in terms of ownership there, but I like Ben Brown. And then I think going down, you said 76 and above, right?
To over, yep.
Okay.
Any Kolek, Lodolo, who else?
So I was on Libertor last start. I got him at like
Libertor.
1% owned, and he nuked the slate. So that was nice. I'm not going back to Libertor against this Cubs offense. He is a ground ball guy. The Cubs don't strike out enough. There's enough downside risk for him, and the pitch count concerns. I mean, he's 80 to 85 pitches there. Sabres got him at 87. I mean, pretty much in the realm. I just don't think that the risk there to go up against this Cubs lineup is what I want to do with an $8,200 pitcher who I don't think has much strikeout upside. The tournament play to me is Lodolo, and I'll give you the reasons why. The Yankees are going to be the most popular stack on the slate, especially when pitching is like this, where people can just punt pitching and play the cheap or the expensive Yankees bats, full 9 at bats in the best park on the slate, great weather. However, Lodolo, does he have downside? Absolutely, but he's 8K, and he could be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate just by strikeout upside alone. Even if he gives up a home run or two, the Yankees have not been hitting the ball as well as they kind of started the year. They kind of been scuffling as of late. I know the Angels pitching staff got to them a couple series ago. It's great weather in Cincinnati, etc. I mean, in tournaments, though, at the ownership, I think Lodolo is an interesting play. Nobody's going to play him. It's double leverage. You look at his projection. He's projected right around 13 points, right, which is a point or two in line with guys like Brian Wu, Patrick Schwellenbach up at the top, and within 2 points of Bailey Ober, who's going to be 6 times them on ownership. So in tournaments, he is the boom bust play that I think is interesting. But for me, up at the top, it's Schwellenbach and Patrick are my two favorites. Brian Wu and Ober are kind of the field's favorites. They're solid plays. I like getting underweight on those guys, overweight on the other two, and then the tournament option in Lodolo.
Any like Kolek, best pitching weather by far, best pitching park, should have run support. The Nat, I guess a little maybe. Nats have one of the lowest totals on a slate where, and he's going to be very under, like he's 10%, 8%, 7%. On a slate where I'm fine with 15, can you make a case for Kolek? I mean, it's 3.5, minus 130 on the over. Most slates, no chance, but it's just such a weird slate. Like when it's 90 degrees in a lot of these other spots, humid, all that, it's a great pitcher's park in a spot right now for Kolek against the Nats. They are throwing a lot of lefties, though. What are your thoughts on him?
That's the issue I have. There's probably going to be at least 7 lefties in this lineup. It's going to be Abrams, Wood, Garcia, Lowe, Bell, Lyle, and Ruiz at minimum. All 7 of those guys are going to be in there. You look at Kolek over the last 30 days, 15% walk rate to lefties, 15% strikeout rate, a fly ball rate, power. If they're, I mean, that's the issue I have with him on the gross pitching slates. I mean, I guess it's fine. He should have, if he's pitching all right and navigates these guys, he'll go 90 pitches, 90 to 95 pitches, which is nice with Kolek. But if things get out of hand, I mean, the Padres have one of the best bullpens in baseball. They're not going to just let Kolek get out there and leave him hung out to dry, right, against all these lefties. That's the issue I have with Kolek. And he's 7,900. I'd rather play, I think, Lodolo in fight with fire in tournaments with a guy that actually has upside, right? Because when it goes good with Lodolo, you're not only leveraging the Yankees ownership in terms of bats, you're also getting a guy that can post a 25-point DraftKings night, which in tournaments, that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for ceiling outcomes. So for me, that's the reason I don't have interest in Kolek is just all those lefties. If there's less lefties than what's projected, say there's only 5 lefties in there or 4 lefties in there for whatever reason, that'd be where I'd have some interest. But I just don't think he's gonna do it with all those lefties in there. His metrics, I mean, he's terrible versus lefties.
Yeah, for sure makes sense. Just because of his ownership, him around Ben Brown, who's going to be pretty chalky, Ober, who's going to be pretty chalky, then Patrick Wu, like he's just in a dead zone. Same thing like you said, Lodolo and Kolek, very similar. Lodolo has clearly more upside, 5.5K prop, but the ballpark's way worse. The weather's worse. The Yankees are much more dangerous lineup, but the Yankees are going to be higher owned. So you get the leverage that way. So I wouldn't play both together, but I would leave them in my pool. And in chalkier teams, you can eat any chalk pitcher. You can eat a chalk stack, and one of these two are a way to get different. So and projected the exact same as well. Again, more safety in Kolek, more upside in Lodolo. Yeah, I love your Schwellenbach call. I'm in on it. Now, my favorite pitcher on the slate's Chad Patrick. I just want to pick on this Pirates team versus a lot of these other teams. And Milwaukee at home, it is warm, but I'm not. Is it warm enough for like the roof will be closed? You think?
No, the roof's no. I'm seeing the roof is open. I didn't call the hotline, but everything that's like Ballpark Pal has the roof open. I mean, they don't open the roof too often, but I expect the roof to be open here. Temperature
probably what, like 75, 80 when it comes to pitch, or is it even hotter?
I mean, it's going to be hot. Tomorrow it's going to drop down, but the last 3 days it's been like 95 and like 70% humidity. It's going to be today's the last day of the stint. So it's going to be pretty much 90 degrees the entire duration of that game, and it's going to be humid. So
just like it is everywhere, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hot. That's the case for like San Diego, like out west. The other one is the Angels, another one out west. Like it's 65 degrees in those two spots versus 90 degrees there. Problem is, like, we haven't talked about many pitchers in the range because they're all down here. Someone mentioned Erod. He's in a tough weather game. We're going to talk about this Chowinski guy, whatever. Like, I have interest in this guy just because of his price tag and where he's pitching, essentially. But Patrick's still my favorite.
I'm with you. Patrick's my favorite too overall, but I think Schwellenbach is really nice. I don't expect him to come in over 20% ownership. Everybody's just going to click Wu right there, sandwiched between the two. So I like going up above Wu and below him. Patrick's going to get played for sure, but that's good chalk in my opinion. It's one of the weakest teams to target on the slate.
And then we talked about this a little bit. Do you have any thoughts, Nades, when you see a pitcher just face the same exact team? Favorite hitter, favorite pitching. I mean, at the end of the day, there's so much film, and like both sides can adjust.
And these guys have the best metrics and researchers and everything. I mean, they know exactly the arm angle, all this stuff. I mean, it's no different. I mean, you look at it's the whole BVP thing, right? I mean, I don't really put any additional. I mean, you look at Schwellenbach in his career, he's got a 25% K rate against this Mets team and 63 plate appearances, a batting average of 242. So he's played them more than just that last game. The Mets have seen him before. I don't really put any extra added bonus into that at all. Yeah,
and like Cam said, I don't know enough of the research, but a lot. Both sides are going to adjust. Like, just say maybe like Schwellenbach knew that. Like he was more heavy fastball that time. He didn't use his off speed as much. Like he's going to completely mix up things here and there. At the end of the day, I look at Vegas so much. They take all that stuff into consideration. I'll just trust Vegas and all their algorithms, whatever goes into the metrics, and trust that. So I don't look at that very much. More noise to me. But hey, I mean, at the end of the day, it's human beings playing baseball. Nades and I have played plenty of baseball. Like, there's pitchers that you see the ball better against. The arm angle comes out better. Some guys just have your number. You just don't see it as well. So not saying that you shouldn't. It's too much for me. I don't know which side to go there. All right, let's go Walker Buehler at 7.5 all the way down. Like, I'm playing some Walker Buehler today. Erod looks to be higher owned, projects better for a little cheaper. Again, the weather games, 67 degrees in Anaheim, like 65 degrees in San Diego. That's why I had some interest there. It's 90 degrees, wind blowing out in Chicago. With all that being said, the White Sox suck. Erod should have run support. But yes, the White Sox are implied for 4.4 runs, which you do not see very often. Like, I like this range, though, and I'm fine playing two guys down here. Like, if you did an Ober, Brown, Erod, fine. Ober, Brown, Jack, fine. I don't like Blackburn. I'd cross him. I don't like Ashcraft. I don't like this Winans dude. But, I mean, maybe you can talk me into Parker, just literally because, again, the weather spot at a fraction of the ownership in between some other guys below. But I guess who can you cross off 7.6K and below? And then from there, talk about the guys you do have interest.
Yeah, so I'm fine living down in this range too. I mean, that's just the nature of the pitching slate. Definitely have interest in Ben Brown. He's going to be more popular for sure. But I mean, lefties are where what you get. You want to target against Ben Brown. A lot of these guys, we're going to also talk about the bats when we get to bats too. This is a clear spot where you can play both sides of pretty much any pitcher on the slate. Realistically, there's probably 10 teams you can stack up on the slate. And there's also probably 6 of those pitchers that you can play against those stacks too. So take that for what it's worth when we're breaking it down. It's just the slate that we have at hand. Ben Brown, I'm in on Ben Brown. I'm probably out on Ober, to be honest. He scares me. All the metrics, everything I see. I mean, the dude is throwing meatballs over the heart of the plate against one of the hottest teams in baseball right now with this weather. I mean, the Mariners, you look at the Mariners, they've been one of the best offenses in baseball on the road this season, which makes sense, right? They leave that shitty park. They go out. They actually have good players that can hit the ball. It's wild what happens. So I'm out on Ober, to be honest. That's just a stand I'm going to take, whether it's right, wrong, indifferent. When there's so many guys around him that I would rather take a stab on at a fraction of the ownership, Walker Buehler being one of them. Erod's going to be less owned than Ober. Even if he's going to pick up ownership, I get it, but he's going to be less than Ober. I'm not going to eat all the chalk on a slate where everybody sees the same picture. So this ownership is going to come in higher than what's projected, in my opinion, because people are going to go in and click what feels like safe names, right? So I like Buehler. I like Ben Brown, sandwiched between Ober. Erod I'm in on. Does give me some slight concern, but you look at Erod, he has absolutely mowed this White Sox team down in his career. I get it. Going back to the game logs, facing people twice in a short amount of time. It's a different White Sox team than what he's seen before, but he has, in 38 plate appearances, a 34.2% K rate, a batting average below 200. I get the weather, etc. That's enough for me on a guy that actually has strikeout arm and strikeout potential to be in my pool at that price point. Even if he gives up some runs, he has the strikeout ability to offset some of those negative scores in DraftKings. I'm out on Winans. This dude is making a start. They called him up. He has been mowing in AAA. It's number 1, the pitch count concern. Number 2, the ballpark. Number 3, the weather. But what I will say, dry runs are kind of slamming in this this Reds team for probably a good reason, right? It's the highest total on the slate. They're implied to score over 5 runs. It's good park, all of that. There is some leverage there. It's just I have a worry with his pitch count. I have a worry with anytime you call up a guy like that, it can go one of 2 ways, right? They shit their pants because they're making a major league debut in a big market team like the Yankees, or he can go out there, and we know what the Reds can do. I mean, it's the same reason why I forgot who I cored the other day against the Reds from the Cardinals that had a good game, because the Reds are going to be slates where they're going to strike out 12 times, and then there's slates where they're going to score 17 runs, right? I just have a hard time with the pitch count with this guy at 7K, so I'm out on him. Probably my most interest down here is just punting all the way to the bottom with a guy that I know is going to have a leash. He's going to throw 85 to 90 pitches in Jack K, I'm going to call him so I don't butcher his last name, against a Red Sox team that doesn't have Devers and has almost a 27% K rate on the road against right-handed pitching. So in the temperature of 65 degrees, I mean, you're talking 30 degrees colder in Anaheim than it is in Milwaukee. I'll take my chances. I think pairing up Buehler and Jack in that game is going to be contrarian. I know the Angels Park has both done well for home runs, one of the better parks in baseball for hitting. Not tonight, right? I mean, there's games where we've been playing the Angels out in Anaheim when it's been almost 90 degrees. Tonight it's going to be 65. So I like both of those pitchers probably the most down here at their ownership with the weather, with the ballpark compared to the other guys. But your upside arms down here are definitely Erod, Ben Brown. I think are the 2 guys that I'm in on for upside arms down here. I don't feel good about them. So that's where I have interest in Jack down at the bottom at 6,500, because I'm not paying $1,000 more, $2,000 more to get probably a similar chance at a negative score as the rest of the slate.
I'm with Jack K and Walker Buehler, two of my favorites, right in that same game. Chad Patrick's number 1 on the slate. I think at the price it'd be Buehler 2, Jack 3. And then from there, it's like, am I playing any chalk? If I'm already very different, you can eat Brian Wu chalk, even though Nates didn't love it much. You can play Schwellenbach up top. Going Schwellenbach and Jack, you have all the salary in the world to work with. If you are very chalky, if you're different in the spots, you can do that. If you're very chalky in the spots, you can take a shot on Lodolo for his upside. Kolek more for a floor game that's going to be 7% owned as a pivot in this range. Again, I'd sign up for 15 for 8.5K and less. If my pitcher's scoring 15, I'll sign up for it. And then just my bats will have to get the job done. It's hard to see one of these teams not putting up a crooked number tonight with how good the hitting environments are, how bad the pitching is. You need to get the bats right. I would focus on bats, which is why the pitching pool is bigger right here. Like, I don't like Mitchell Parker much by any means, but he's in between 2, 3 chalky-ish guys, 4. Like, if I want to play Brian Wu chalk and the Yankees, who's also chalk, a guy like Mitchell Parker can make that lineup different. Again, the weather's fine. He would be the one I cross off if I wanted to. Or if I needed to cross someone off. But at 2%, if you're playing 20 teams, something like that, and I had 1 or 2 teams with him, I'd be fine that way. But you didn't like Ober, who's pretty chalky. You didn't like Wu much, who's pretty chalky. So if you do something like that, we have a handful of guys really low owned, 4%, 10, 2, 15, 11. Again, I would fill out bats first and go to pitching after that, depending on how much money you have, how chalky you got, etc. after that. Any final thoughts at pitching before we talk some bats?
No, I was just looking at some roster construction thing based on Optimizer and Dry Run. I mean, you click on Walker Buehler's name, people are going up to Brian Wu or they're playing Erod. So pairing Jack on the other side of that game is interesting. Patrick's going to get played in that combination too, but it's just a roster construction thing. So I would play around with that as we lead up to lock and ownership changes, projections change, etc. Run 150 teams as like a tournament player would, right? And see what it kind of does. Play around with the projections, play around with Saber score, see what happens. That's kind of why I had some interest in Lodolo, right? When you filter projection score, you got 0 out of 150. When you go to Saber score, Lodolo pops in there, right? Because nobody's clicking the name. He has upside, etc. So that's little things on slates like this. I let kind of optimizers help me kind of figure out what the puzzle is, because everybody's looking at the same crap on paper. I just don't want to play the same thing everyone else is. So that's an interesting thing I found with Walker Buehler is most people are playing Erod and Brian Wu, at least projections wise. So you go and pair up a guy like Jack, who most people are going to spend all the way up to Brian Wu when they click Jack, because the salary allows you to do it. If you play 2 cheap guys, well, now you have a different roster construction than what the field has.
Yeah, absolutely. Great shout there. Again, the power of SaberSim. You can sort by projected ownership, see where the chalk's going to be that way. That doesn't tell you the whole story, though. Like Nate yesterday, you sort by projected score. It gave you 150 Seattle sacks. Obviously, you know that's not the case. People usually sort by Saber score. So when you do that, you have a whole different, like, it's more realistic what the field's going to do, what you see, and then just keep going. Like, okay, they're still showing up 65%. They're not going to be more than 35. Cap them at 35 and run it. Oh, this team's popping a lot as the number 2 stack. This team 3. Oh, we're not projecting it necessarily that way. Maybe it gets steam, and then you up the ownership. Again, ownership or projected ownership's a projection. You're guessing at the end of the day. One way to make SaberSim stronger, to make your lineups better, is getting more accurate ownership. And a way to do that is playing every single day, running the dry runs, running projections, seeing team totals, what fits, what doesn't, and then working your way from there. So, yeah, shout out SaberSim. By far the most powerful tool. Again, as you go from core to starter to ultimate, it does only get more powerful. The Sims, as good as it gets, been running them for years. Shout out to SaberSim continuing to prove. Again, it's expensive, though. If you're playing $1,000 a month, thousands of dollars, I think trying the Sims, $297 for your first month, is a good way to do it. Most people out there, though, want to spend less on content, more in contests. The core right there, usually $99. 250 lineups you can build. You can see 150 and then late swap as well. If you use the promo code MLB75, you get it for less than $1 a day, $24 your first month. Projections, ownership, all the content from us with SaberSim, and access to the best Discord around. We would love to have you, and it's not very often. You can get all of that for less than $1 a day. So if you want to join, Make sure to use that code MLB75 and do get in the Discord if you do join. All right, Nades, pitching's not great. That means bats should be pretty solid the first game of the night, or at least for both FanDuel and DraftKings, is the Mets and the Braves. 8.5 total, -148 favorites are the Braves. I mean, Schwellenbach's going to get some ownership. If you pick on him, you want the lefties. The Mets do have some pretty good lefties at the top of the order. Not sure it's the slate you want to do that. You let me know. Blackburn on the other side, a ground ball pitcher, but this dude's been garbage as of late. So Braves, Mets, any interest in either side?
Sure. I mean, you could play the Mets. It's not something I want to do. There's so many weaker pitchers that we talked about on the slate. Do I want to pick on a Schwellenbach, who I think is a good pitcher? Not for me. This lineup does give me a little concerns. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lefties in there that they're going to throw at Schwellenbach. But again, it's the nature of the slate. Could you play those lefties? Sure. I'm not going to. My interest in this game is more on the Brave side of things, who Blackburn, his entire career has been reverse splitsy. This dude spent a bunch of his days out in Oakland pitching in that Coliseum before they moved to Sacramento, which was probably a top 3 worst ballpark in baseball for hitting, which inflates his numbers. He still wasn't a good pitcher, allows a ton of power to righties. So you want the righties in particular. Acuna, Eli White's in there, Sean Murphy, Ozuna, Austin Riley are the main guys I want. And then obviously Matt Olson, who smashes any right-handed pitcher, is fine. Albies is fine too. But realistically, it's Riley, Ozuna, Murphy, White, Olson, and Acuna, the guys that I'm looking at for the Braves. Mets do have a good bullpen. I think the Braves can get to Blackburn though and score enough runs. I don't expect them to be very popular at all. So I think it's a pretty good tournament stack in general.
Braves are one of my favorite stacks on the slate. It's warm in a lot of places, 90 degrees, wind blowing out a little bit, ownership's in check. Yeah, I mean, sure, the bullpen's solid, which I do always appreciate you, G-Rise, and pulling up bullpen stuff. It's important. But if the Braves score 4 or 5 on Blackburn through 4 innings, you're going to get by far the worst of the arms in the bullpen. They'll save the guys later. Yeah, everything's checking out. Acuna is one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. Jake Baldwin, fair price catcher in the middle of the order. Not sure you know Nades. That's a Wisconsinite, though. Shout out to Wisconsin. Baldwin played hockey against my brother. But, man, the bottom of the order, you don't like Nick Allen, Verdugo, the 2 guys I always say no. Outside of that, and again, if I was doing multiple teams on SaberSim, I'm allowing Allen and Verdugo. I'm not completely unchecking them. If I'm hand building, I'm not getting to those 2, but it's a lineup I can get to the bottom as well. Sign me up for these Braves.
Yeah, so actually there's no Baldwin or Verdugo in there.
Oh, what?
It's Acuna, Olson, Ozuna, Riley, Albies, Murphy, Harris, White, Allen. So
Murphy's good.
Yeah, I mean, I like Murphy. You want righties anyways with Blackburn. He allows a lot of power to righties. So Sean Murphy, 171 ISO against right-handed pitching on the current season. You go to last 30 days. It's not quite as good, but overall, I think it's good. And I actually did pull up the Mets bullpen usage. Buttle through 28. He's probably available to throw tonight, but there are other guys. I mean, Davinsky through 27, their other guy through 26, 20. So they're pretty taxed in general from a bullpen from the weekend series. 3 of their bullpen arms through on Saturday, 2 of them through yesterday. So that helps the stack a little bit more.
It's good to know. Yeah, I mean, so I guess Eli White and Nick. The thing is, Nick Allen 2,200 at shortstop, a onesie position. So by no means should you cross that off. It can make a lot work. You can win with a 0. Eli White would be the toughest click for me, I guess. 3K in the outfield in the 8 spot. But yeah, again, I don't really X out any bats in SaberSim. I X out pitchers and stuff if I want to go that way. SaberSim knows. Like if they're plugging one of those 2 at the bottom, it's for a reason. Whether your lineup's really chalky, whether you need that salary relief to get you anything, etc. But yeah, by far 1 through 7. I like them. They're one of my favorite stacks on the slate against Blackburn. Keep it rolling. Next game, also one of my favorite stacks, the Yankees and the Reds at Great American Small Park. We are looking at a 10 total, which is the highest on the slate. -126 favorites are the Yankees. I'll throw it to you right away. I have interest. You mentioned Lodolo, but you mentioned a couple things. You can play Lodolo on some teams. You can play the other side On other teams, yeah, they're very chalky. Lodolo grades out well in our pitcher rankings. I think it makes total sense. K-prop, one of the highest on the slate. What you're saying makes sense with Lodolo as a pivot. In non-Lodolo teams, though, I think you can play the Yankees. I love the Yankees. Yes, they're chalk, but we just talked about so many pitchers you can play that are low owned. I think you can get different playing this Yankees team. So I like it. Also guaranteed ninth inning at bats. Take this one away.
Yeah, I mean, not much more to say with the Yankees. What I will say is I want the fly ball guys first. Between this year and last year against lefties, that's Judge, Wells, Bellinger, and Goldschmidt. Obviously, Wells and Belly are lefty-lefty. But Lodolo, looking at the last 30 days, his strikeout stuff drops off against lefties. He has a lot more of a walk concern and a walk lean to lefties. He is kind of a ground ball lean pitcher when you compare this year and last year. About a 45% ground ball rate, more to lefties, less to righties. So realistically, current year, you look at Dominguez is up there in fly ball rate. Goldie's up there. Stanton is up there. So Judge, Stanton, Goldschmidt, Dominguez are the guys I would look to first. And then I would probably go to the lefties. Volpe is going to get a lot of ownership. I mean, he scares me. The dude has a 53% ground ball rate against a ground ball guy at the ownership at a weak shortstop position where people are just going to blindly click. Volpe hitting in the heart of that lineup at 4,100. That's little things like that that'll make you different in Yankee stacks. Pivoting off of Volpe, which is scary. Last time I talked about this, Volpe hit a home run. But again, it's a process over results mindset. So for me, that's a little thing that I would look at is maybe not getting to a LeMahieu at a second base position at 2,900 where it's a very easy and feel safe click. Those are the two ground ball guys that just pound the ball into the ground on the current season against lefties is LeMahieu and Volpe. So those are my two least favorites. Love all the rest of them. Not much more to say about the Yankees. The Reds bullpen also sucks behind Lodolo, which is nice for the Yankees. On the Red side, Yankees got a good bullpen. I don't expect this AAA dude to go very far. I mean, Saber had him about 78 pitches. I mean, you could probably assume anywhere from 65 to probably 80 pitches, somewhere in that realm of possibilities. And then you're looking at the bullpen coming in. Could that be enough for the Reds? I think so. But if I'm playing the chalkier side of this game, I'd rather play the Yankee side personally than play the Red side and deal with potentially a middle game where the bullpen comes in the fourth inning, and then you're playing against the bullpen arms. So I'm a little bit under on the Reds. I love the Yankee side of this game is kind of how I'm approaching it.
I'm with you. It's more mini stacks like Friedel. I don't mind. Ellie, I think, is a very elite one-off. A lot of that, again, has to do if we're fine playing very cheap pitching, Walker Buehler and Jack K, you can 5-man Yankees and play Ellie instead of Volpe, who Nades doesn't like. That's a way to get different. Not many are spending that far up at a one-off at a position like that. And I mean, Ellie can literally go 2 for 5 with 2 singles and still give you 18 to 20 DraftKings points with what he can do on the bases. Obviously, can hit for pop as well. So guys like that, him, Bobby Witt, you can always play them as one-offs. But yeah, I don't see how much 5-man stacking I'm going to do. I'm a Gavin Lux slappy. I don't hate it. Hasn't been great for him, though, but I think the Yankees are phenomenal.
Yeah, the thing with the Yankees, too, is you can steal on Lodolo, even being a lefty. He's allowed 21 stolen bases, which is second most on the slate behind Walker Buehler, which is right there at 22. So him and Walker Buehler allow the most stolen bases, at least on the current slate, and the Yankees will run. So the stolen base guys for the Yankees is Jazz, Volpe, obviously, which falls into that category. Goldschmidt will run, Bellinger, Judge, Dominguez, all of those guys have double-digit stolen bases over the last 2 seasons. So that's added upside boost to the already good spot Yankees.
Good shout. I love it. And again, this is confirmed. All 9 of these are in the lineup. It's a little different. So Dominguez is like in the 9 hole. DJ's still there. Wells is in the 7 spot. Volpe, Jazz, Stanton, Judge, Belly, Goldie. But all 9 of these are in the lineup. It's just a little different that way. And again, I
love the 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. I love that stack. Dominguez is going to be one of the lower owned Yankees, in my opinion, just because he's hitting 9th. People played him when he was batting leadoff. Now he's in the 9 hole. I love the wraparound. So yeah, that's my preferred way of playing it. And even if you want to skip a Stanton and go to Jazz lefty, which is going to be lower owned, I talked about the stolen base. That's a interesting way to do it as well.
Good shout, Nades. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, Chicago White Sox and the Arizona Diamondbacks. 9.5 total. Minus 144 favorites are the D-backs. Another weather game. 95 degrees. I mean, we just saw the Wrigley win game in that weather, which absolutely went off. It's very, very good hitting weather here in Chicago. If you're trying to look for reasons to fade it, which, I mean, I don't think you have to do that. Look at ownership. So I guess if you do like it, you can play it. The D-backs are coming out of Coors, though, which does worry a lot of people. Again, they're walking into a phenomenal hitting weather, though, so I wouldn't be too worried there. I do respect Shane Smith, though. I think he's a solid pitcher. The bullpen's bad, no doubt. Like if Shane Smith went 5 innings, allowed 1 run, but the D-backs scored 9 after he got pulled, like we've seen it with the A's and the Astros last week. Bullpen's bad, but I respect him as a starting pitcher. They are expensive, which, again, does keep ownership down. Not that salary means much. Number 5 in the pitcher rankings. It keeps me just like, I prefer Yankees. I prefer Braves, 2 that we've already talked about. I don't love D-backs as a full stack. People are talking about the White Sox, including the man, the myth, the legend, Shalhoub, winning $300K in MLB. Not many have ever done that. You mentioned earlier, yeah, there you go. People like the Sox. Do you like the White Sox? Erod is getting some ownership.
Yeah, so I'll talk about both sides of this game. D-backs are one of my favorite stacks on the slate for a couple reasons. Nobody's going to play them. All the stuff coming out of Coors, etc. But that's usually when, I mean, teams are coming out of Coors and going to a shitty environment. I mean, it's 95 degrees with double-digit wind kind of blowing across the field. That can switch at any. I mean, Chicago, the wind swirls all the time, right? I mean, you're looking at between 11 and 15-mile-an-hour winds pretty much the entire duration of this game. Temperatures in the 90s. It's super humid, like I talked about in the Midwest. I mean, you're looking at probably about a 70% humidity here, which obviously helps the ball fly. You look at Shane Smith, he is a solid pitcher overall, but where he struggles against lefties. I mean, last 30 days, sub 20% K rate to lefties, a 14% walk rate. Overall, just way worse metrics. You go between this year and last year, which pretty much takes the entire season into account. 148 plate appearances against lefties. He's got a 19% K rate against lefties, a 10% walk rate, fly ball rate approaching 30%. And you got the Arizona D-backs in town with some of the best lefties hitters. I get it. They don't have Corbin Carroll in there, but it just makes it easier and more affordable to stack and less intriguing for the field to want to stack this team up. And then obviously you got the bullpen behind Shane Smith. So anytime a pitcher has walk concerns with fly balls to lefties against one of the best hitting teams against right-handed pitching in baseball, I'm going to have interest. So I like the lefties a ton. Naylor, Pavin Smith, Marte, Perdomo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wrap it around with my guy, Alec Thomas. He's always a sleeper for me. I love this dude. Cheap, lots of power. Herrera as a switch hitting catcher down there as well, 9th. So I like the 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. Suarez is fine. Obviously, tons of power. Fly ball guy, Gurriel, Grichuk are probably my 2 least favorite guys in this lineup, but all 9 hitters I can easily see myself playing. I like the stack. You got the bullpen. But Shane Smith is definitely way worse versus lefties than he is righties. On the White Sox side, the White Sox, I mean, this team has young talent that's trying to hit their way out of Chicago, is what you get here. So you're always getting 100% effort out of these guys. Austin Slater is probably going to see 2 at-bats. I mean, does he have a good chance to hit a home run against Erod? Yeah. Am I willing to take a chance at 2,800 when he's not picking ownership? I think so. Vargas is probably my favorite bat from the White Sox side. Play him at third base. Don't play him at first base. First base is too good of a position to play a White Sox there. But 3K, I think he's fine. Cuero has been a great catcher all season, hitting cleanup at 2,500. Robert's got stolen base and power upside, hitting the ball pretty good right now. Had a good weekend, coming off a pretty good weekend in their last series there, 3,500. And you get leverage on the field. I mean, Erod's probably going to be the 2nd or 3rd highest owned pitcher on the slate. I mean, up there with Brian Wu, Patrick, and then it's probably Erod rivaling Bailey Ober there for 3 and 4. Not too often do you see the White Sox implied to score over 4 runs. And the nice thing I will say too, even if Erod goes 5 innings, 6 innings like we want, if we're playing him, the D-backs pen is one of the worst in baseball, especially over the last 30 days. They're right there with the White Sox in terms of bullpens. So you always have the late inning upside with a super cheap team that nobody's going to play. You don't need to go in a 5-man stack the White Sox. That's overkill, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to rival some of these teams on the slate. But as 2- and 3-man stacks, I definitely have interest in the White Sox, especially with the leverage. You look at the D-backs pen, like I said, 23rd in baseball over the last month.
Great. Yeah, great numbers there. I mean, that shows even if you play White Sox or D-backs in the first half of the game's tough, you have some opportunities against 2 bad bullpens. More so mini stacks for me on both sides. Don't hate D-backs 5-man for a lot of the reasons you said. Looking at ownership, a playable lineup 1 through 9. I just think probably Shane Smith's better than I think the average person thinks. But again, we see it all the time. Shane could go 5 innings. Those next 4 innings, D-backs who have guaranteed 9th inning at bats, they could put up 6, 7 runs and do a lot of the damage that way. Minis for both, but I like the Vargas call. I like Robert Power there.
That 3-5 mini stack is really nice. Both fly ball hitters against Erod in his splits, where he allows a ton of right-handed power, ton of fly balls. Vargas is almost a 50% fly ball rate on the season against lefties. Robert's at 35%, and stolen base upside with Robert too.
Yep, I love it. All right, let's keep it rolling to the Brew Crew. Wisconsinites shout out. Brewers playing decent baseball. And we got some pitching promise coming up. I think it's Wednesday. We're gonna see the 2 big arms. Man, is that gonna be fun at AmFam. But the Brewers and the Pirates, Chad Patrick on the mound against Ashcraft. We are looking at 8.5 total, -180 favorites are the Brewers. I'm not playing the Pirates. Chad Patrick's my favorite pitcher. Grades out number 2 in the pitcher rankings. A million different ways to get different on the slate besides that. Ashcraft, he's number 3. It's a lot of short sample size. I don't even know how long he's going to go in this game, which I'm conflicted on the Brewers. Like, I know I like Yankees more. I know I like Braves more, but the bullpen's not good for the Pirates. I'm not sure this Ashcraft guy is. In the short sample, I'm seeing a ground ball lean. What is nice about the Brewers, though, is they can run, and they're hot. So I guess when it's all said and done, at ownership, I like the Brewers a decent bit. I like them, and I think you can play them 1 through 9. Yeah, what are you seeing in this one?
Yeah,
if you like that, definitely play the Pirates. Will be completely unknown, and you can play all Schwellenbach, Woo. You can pay up at everything. So I like it. I'll remember that. FK. I like contrarian takes. I do. Not a contrarian take, but I like this too.
Yeah, I love the Brewers here tonight. They're a streaky baseball team. I know it. You know it, Title. It's been our home team. The thing with the Brewers, I'd say it all every slate. I sound like a broken record. Their stolen base upside alone, it keeps them in contention every single time. They just swept the Twins in Minnesota. Now they come in to face the Pirates and this Pirates pitching staff. This dude does have a ground ball lean in the minors, but again, it's the minor leagues. Now he's coming up to the majors. Even if you get into the bullpen, the Pirates bullpen's not very good, and they're majority right-handed, which helps the lefties in this lineup. The Brewers are more of a full stack for me because when it goes good, it's going to go good for the entire team versus picking off one-offs. It's hard to kind of pick off one-offs at these salaries too. I would go to other teams for one-offs, like the Mariners maybe, any other team really. The Brewers are more full stack or nothing for me. Probably would exclude them from mini stacks personally myself, because when the Brewers are going to do it, they're going to do it like you've seen this weekend, even against good pitching staff. So 1 through 9 firmly in play for me. My least favorite guy would probably be Ortiz, but he's been on fire over the last month. Isaac Collins has just absolutely been a stud. He's a switch hitter, 3K. He always gets neglected in Brewers stacks because you got Frelick, Yelich, and Churio, who guys are much more willing to click those 3. If they're playing the Brewers, then play Isaac Collins, a 4th outfielder, when you can only play 3. So that's little things like that I like too. Collins has been murdering the baseball. So I love the Brewers here. In general, you look at Ashcraft's underlying metrics stuff. His xFIP is over 4, which kind of takes team defense metrics out of the equation and just looks at straight pitching metrics. And he's due for some blow up regression here. So I love the Brewers here. One of my favorite stacks on the slate, and they're going to be held in check overall in terms of ownership. Yankees are going to be higher. The Reds are going to be higher. Braves are going to be higher. And they have equally as much upside, I think, in this park with the roof open, wind blowing out to left field overall. And I like Patrick. So I think you can go in and 5-stack the Brewers, play Patrick, and just get different there. Because I think when people are playing Patrick, they're more willing to go to that Reds game overall than play the Brewers bats with them.
I like it. I do like the Brewers myself as well. No Pirates for me, but FK, hey, I will remember if they get to Patrick here, I will definitely remember your comments. All right, couple games left. Next game on the slate, Minnesota Twins and the Seattle Mariners. We are looking at an 8.5 total, -137 favorites are the Mariners. This one's interesting. So very good hitting weather, like a lot of these spots are. Ober going to get ownership. Woo going to get ownership. Woo does grade out well in our pitcher rankings. Bailey Ober does not. The Mariners coming off the great Wrigley series. Weather was phenomenal. Weather's really good in this one, but the winds were absolutely blasting. Hey, they made the Cubs pay, though. Big Dumper, Solano. I mean, all these dudes. It was 1 through 9. They were mashing the baseball. Are they going to stay hot? Again, guaranteed ninth inning at bats. You don't like Ober. What are you doing with the Mariners? What are you doing with the Twins?
Yeah, I think Seattle's a really good play. You look at their over the last month, it's the Rays and then it's the Mariners. Top two teams in baseball over the last 30 days against right-handed pitching. Mariners 269 batting average as a team, 23 home runs in that stretch, obviously thanks to Big Dumper there. Only 143 strikeouts. That's almost 30 less strikeouts than the next two teams in the Rays, the D-backs, the Dodgers. Those are kind of the top four teams over the last month. I want the lefties. I mean, you look at Ober, allows a ton of fly balls and a ton of power. You look at the current season against righties. The two main guys for fly balls are Cal Raleigh, obviously, and Cole Young, who's a cheap second baseman there you can play. But in terms of power in general, you got Polanco in there. You got Canzone coming off a good weekend. Luke Raley, who I like, another lefty in there. Crawford is kind of a gross click, but at shortstop where people are just going to click Anthony Volpe for what, 4,100, save $300 and click JP Crawford against one of the most popular pitchers on the slate. Fraction of the ownership. You got some stolen base upside there too with Crawford. I definitely like the Mariners. On the Twins side, Brian Wu, I just like the other pitchers more against him. Looking at Brian Wu, current last season, definitely worse versus lefty. So if you were to pick guys off, I think Clemens is a good play. Warner is a good play. Larnach, Brooks Lee. Those kind of four lefties I would look at, which when I only like four guys, I look at mini stacks, but they're all hitting right there in the top of that lineup, 2, 3, 4. So pick two of those guys. I think you have a nice little mini leverage stack there as well. Looking at bullpens over the last 30 days, Seattle is third worst in baseball, 28th, which gives you some additional bonus for that twin stack overall. You look at the Twins, one of the better teams in baseball for their bullpen.
Great numbers there. You definitely prefer the lefties with Wu. So the lefties, and then you can add in Byron Buxton, one of the hotter hitters in baseball, like you said. That's how I'd focus, mainly the top of the order, where you do get the lefties with Buxton. Yeah, I'm fine with the Mariners. Again, I do prefer some of those other stacks, the Yankees, the Braves, the Brewers, if I had to pick. But looking at this ownership with the power they have, 1 through like bottom of the order is free. You can fill out catcher, second base, shortstop, third, not just fully outfield. So I have some interest.
I mean, I see a lot of people just going to pair the pitchers together in this game, right? Wu and Ober, especially at these prices. You play any bats in this game, you're different roster construction than the field. And on a slate where there's so many unknowns, especially at the pitchers, I like taking more chance at bats against pitchers that feel quote unquote safe for the field to just click. And when the metrics align, I think it's a pretty good spot. So that's the reason for that.
I like it. We have 3 games left. I do appreciate all 325 watching live, watching on playback. Appreciate y'all as well. All we ask is like button and the subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. My man Landa, I appreciate that. Very nice of you. All right, 3 games left. This is the last good weather game that it's going to get to the West Coast, but 90 degrees plus in St. Louis. Wind blowing out to left. Ben Brown, Matthew Libator on the mound. We are looking at a 9 total. -114 favorites are the Cubs. It's really easy in this game. Ben Brown, a righty. You want the lefties for the Cardinals. Matthew Libator, a lefty. You want the righties for the Cubs. At the end of the day, there definitely is some lefties. I mean, our projected lineup has it going every other. On the Cubs side, decent amount of righties, but like the Kyle Tuckers, the PCAs, 2 of the best bats. But I like that when you're playing the Cubs because you get them decently low owned in the stacks, 2 of the better hitters. If the Cubs jump on them, you expect to see some bullpen arms probably from the right side. But the clear best ones are the righties. And there's a plethora of them throughout the order. Obviously, the Cubs and the Mariners just got done with the series. The awesome weather wind blowing out, but it's awesome, awesome weather in St. Louis as well. So I prefer the Cubs, but someone asked earlier, our man Cam, I do think you can play both sides. And when you look at the ownership on both sides, all of them are in check. So yeah, and Ben Brown's going to get some ownership to make things even better if you do like the card side. Do you like either side in this one?
Yeah, I prefer the card side more. From a value perspective, the lefties, Burleson, Donovan are two solid plays. Nolan Gorman at a weak second base position. I like that. He's got a ton of power against right-handed pitching there. Victor Scott will steal bases as well at Newbar. So I want the lefties only from the cards. I do think they're nice. They're cheap. They fit good. Pretty healthy implied run total. Good weather in general. On the Cubs side, it's Kelly and Suzuki. Mini stack. Carson Kelly, one of the best one-offs on the slate, in my opinion, if he's in there. We have him projected. The dude murders left-handed pitching. Outside of that, I don't love this game from a stacking perspective. I would prefer to stack the Cardinals side. Cubs are going to be low on, but I'd rather play the D-backs at ownership personally in a similar spot against the worst bullpen, lesser bullpen between the two teams. So that's my lean there. But Suzuki had a great weekend. I think riding the wave there, and then Carson Kelly pairing that. Dansby Swanson too at a shortstop position where everyone for $100 less is going to play Volpe there. So I would stick to the three righties in the heart of that lineup: Suzuki, Kelly, Swanson. That's a nice little mini stack there.
I like it. 2 games left coming up on the next game. Again, the weather completely drops off. The West Coast, so much cooler. It's been 90 degrees in most of these other spots on the slate. We're looking at like 70 degrees in Anaheim, and we're looking at like 65 degrees in San Diego. So we talked about it, though. These are the spots we're looking at pitcher a lot. I like Buehler. I like Jack K for the price. I don't think Kolek at very little ownership's the craziest thing on a slate. I'm fine with 15. And heck, I even said I'd keep Mitch Parker in my pool as well, and the pitcher rankings grade out well. So it's no secret. I don't love either stacks of these much. Give me the hitters in good warm conditions. Give me the pitchers in conditions that aren't great. And none of these pitchers are getting too much ownership either. But let's go Red Sox, Angels. We have a 9 total, minus 122 favorites are the Red Sox. Maybe you can make a case. It's not like Walker Buehler is a good pitch. I don't think he's very good in 2025. It's not like this Jack K guy is great. Pitcher rankings, poor ownership for these teams. I mean, I don't even think the Red Sox will be this high owned. I think they'll probably be even less. The Angels won't be played. So I'm not going to personally, but I'm not saying it's a bad, like still a 9 total. That's like you mentioned earlier, the Angels have been one of the better hitting parks for this year. So maybe you can make a case for it. I'm just playing both pitchers.
Just the lefties for the Red Sox, more one-offs. I mean, Roman Anthony, the stud there, Jarren Duran, Toro. They are going to throw some lefties against Jack here to target the splits. But I like so many other teams that I already talked about on the slate much more. Anthony would be my favorite just as a value. I mean, 3,900 outfielder is a value with a ton of power. Rookie phenom there for the Red Sox, going to hit in the heart of that lineup with no Devers there. So I think he's fine. Angels side, the righty power against Buehler. Buehler's reverse splits. I also talked about you can steal on Buehler. So I would only, if you're playing the Angels, I would only go to Ward, Trout, Adele, O'Hoppe, Neto. Those are the only guys I would look at. Prefer to mini stack just due to the weather, the ballpark in general. But those guys do have upside. Probably more of a night slate, 2-game slate play. Which I'll probably have a core in the Discord for members there. Got close last week to shipping it, took 4th place there. So it's probably more of a night slate play. I prefer the pitchers more on the main slate in these games.
Nades did mention Discord. A lot goes in the Discord. So many very knowledgeable members. A lot of them talking in this chat constantly. Again, that does go to the Discord as well. If you do want access to it, again, no better time. I wouldn't just sign up for the Discord, even though I do think it is worth $24 alone. But on top of Discord, you also get SaberSim, the core package, projections, ownership, and content for all the sports going on. Usually $99. If you use the promo code MLB75, get you $75 off, less than $1 a day. And again, projections, ownership, all of the content, SaberSim, and access to the best Discord around. Less than $1 a day. We would love to have you. Absolutely cannot beat that deal. pay less in content, play more in your contest is always our goal. And we are very proud of what we've been able to do over here with the price tags that we put out. Last game of the slate, Nades. Great work. Again, people probably know my takes on this. The Padres and the Nats, 8.5 total, minus 181 favorites are the Padres. Again, two pitchers that are not great. I think if you're playing either side, it's the Padres. Machado, Tatis, definitely grayed out well. You want righties against Parker. Getting Jackson Merrill back in the lineup feels nice as well. Tatis, Machado, mini. Tatis, Machado, one-off. I'm not five-man stacking this team. Again, the weather is significantly worse than across the country. Parker, he's 6,800. If people do punt, it's probably Jack K. Otherwise, they're going to spend a little more for the Obers of the world. So that's the reason I think at 3% in chalky teams, he'd be fine with me. Kolek, again, right in between a lot of the other chalk, like we talked about at pitching, at very little ownership. Pitchers over bats for me. What about you?
Yeah, just Machado in this game. The reason being is he's sandwiched between Jazz Chisholm and Austin Riley, who are going to be way more popular than what Manny is due to all the factors we talked about. Manny's been one of the best hitters. He is the best hitter. He's over Tatis against lefties when you look at kind of this year and last year. So it's just Manny Machado at 4,900, which feels cheap, and he's been swiping bags for whatever reason this year. I don't know what's up with that. I will say the Nats pen is trash behind it. I just never stack out in San Diego, especially on this slate when there's games that are approaching 100 degrees. On the East Coast, there's just, you're galaxy branding it, in my opinion. I would rather play the Angels Red Sox game in a much better park overall than play this game on the night slate. If you want to get crazy, sure. But main slate, it's just Machado for me as a one-off, just because he's sandwiched between two of the more popular bats at a weak third base position.
Yeah, don't hate that at all. Can always play Tatis. Again, the outfield's a lot better than third base, though. So it makes sense. Machado would be my favorite bat as well. Nades, final thoughts?
Guy Shalhoub, maybe he's got an inside scoop at Xander Bogaerts, who has a 0.52 ISO against lefties on the season. The dude sucks at baseball, but Shalhoub, you've won a lot more money this year than I have in baseball. But this dude is just atrocious versus righties and lefties. That's probably one of the worst contracts they got stuck with in baseball, but it's a weak shortstop position, 3,300. You could definitely do worse. I get the reasoning for it. If you want to add in Machado there, you got a nice little two-man stack.
Yeah, maybe my home run call might be Bogaerts. No one runs better than my man Shalhoub. This dude is on one in the MLB streets and the golf streets. So, hey, if anyone wants a little Shalhoub call, Bogaerts it is. Jeff says Mike Trout. You can never go wrong with him. Michael says Abrams. We don't usually do home runs. I know you and Ham do. If you have one on your mind that you want to say, you can let the people know. Otherwise, I also want you to send us off out of here. So I'll click the outro after. Shout out to everyone for hanging out. We do appreciate it a lot. Thumbs up helps us out a ton. But Nades is going to give a home run if he wants it. Otherwise, he's going to outro, and I will click the button.
All right. Home run call for me. I'll give it to people, too. I'm going to Miguel Vargas for the White Sox against the chalky Erod. Talked about the fly ball rate. The dude has a fly ball rate off the chart against a fly ball pitcher in a good ballpark there. So I'll say Miguel Vargas. And then kind of my more the one I like more overall is on the D-backs. I'm gonna stick with the hot hand on the other side of that game and go to Ketel Marte at second base. So a cheaper one, an expensive one. That's going to do it. Appreciate everyone watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Slate Plan's already live for SHIPIT Nation subscribers. I'll be in the Discord answering questions. Cores will be up shortly here, probably within the next 35 minutes or so. Give you a nice time to build your teams. I'll be around for the night slate as well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. For Title, I'm Nades. Good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see the SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. We're out here. Peace.